Hello, and welcome back to HunterTuned. Today we're going to be putting a motor together, and hopefully it works out this time. I have no idea if it's going to, but we're going to try and maybe take some steps to, make it legit, some steps to just throw it together kind of thing. It's going to be an all-motor B20 Vtec for my Honda CRX. This motor is going to consist of a set of the P2PO rods and pistons. They're used. We got some new rings for the pistons because the old rings were gapped very big and cut with a bench grinder, so they're very not good. So also the cylinders are very glazed over. We don't really have the right cylinder hone. We did get some plastic gauge though, because this is really going to tell us what we need to know. Kind of a joke, kind of not a joke. So we did get some plastic gauge. I want to check the main bearings. The rod bearings all looked good when we pulled this motor apart. I don't think there was any clearance issue there, but I do want to check the main bearings, especially the center main bearing. I've had a lot of issues with B20s now in the past that chew up the center mains kind of easily with a set of standard bearings. So I want to double check, make sure the frickin' clearance isn't like a half a thou or something. And I don't want to frickin' deal with line honing this motor. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff because it's just going to cost money, and this thing's just all motor. It's not like we're trying to throw the kitchen sink at it or anything like that. So we're just going to chuck it together, have some fun, and hopefully it lives. And I'm going to do a couple strategies. Even if the bearings are a little bit messed up, I'm going to try to do some strategies to keep it alive, such as put straight 30 weight in it on a break-in and run it on like super thick oil all the time. Good quality oil, because I've noticed that like even a couple guys have emailed me mentioning that like Walmart thinner oil in like a brand new setup motor, Honda motor, they have had kind of the same issues that I had with this motor. So yeah, so these are some of the old bearings that came out of this thing. This is one of the good ones. Good one. It's all chewed up. The rest of them I probably threw in the garbage already. But we did get the transmission all together yesterday. Me and Christian knocked the transmission out, and we tuned a Subaru Honda. I wish I could have, if you guys are friends with me on Snapchat, you've probably seen the launch control setup on that car. It's pretty cool. It's just a single cam Y7 with like a 16G turbo or something. And yeah, it turned out pretty good. Car is like a Subaru copy, but it has a Honda motor. It was kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. So we did that, and then we got the transmission all assembled for the CRX. I was having some issues with the transmission before because the snap ring that sits on the top of the case up here where this little square plug is for a 1/2-inch ratchet, pull this out, there's a snap ring under it that holds the counter shaft into a certain position. That snap ring was not in this case, and when I put it together, the transmission grinded like crazy, and we had a bunch of issues. So we got a new snap ring installed into the case. We had to straighten it out and do a couple things. Christian worked his magic with a torch and straightened it out. Yep. But anyways, we got the transmission dialed. This thing's all sealed up, ready to go. So I'm thinking that the transmission should shift perfectly now. We got an XTD stage 5 clutch for this thing. It's actually a clutch that I bought a long time ago for my red hatch. We went bottom 11 with that XTD clutch until it started slipping. It would slip on a gear transition from the 1-2 shift. But for an all-motor setup, that XTD clutch will work perfectly. And I think I'm going to throw a lightweight flywheel in it just to fuck up the bottom end even more. Because lightweight flywheels probably isn't the best idea, but man, they're so much snappier with a lightweight flywheel. And I have one for free. I got the clutch back from T-Bag, and there was a flywheel in there also. So I'm going to run the lightweight flywheel with the XTD clutch and run thick oil and hope this thing lives. And if it doesn't live, it will. I just know it will. Like, I have a good feeling about it. I have a good feeling that it'll stay together. And I don't know, usually when I have a gut feeling, I'm usually right. Sometimes I'm not. But anyways, thanks for all the support on the videos with the Mustang, guys. This thing is sitting in the shop looking pretty, just waiting on some suspension upgrades. We did go super fast with this thing. New personal best at 961 at 145.
And drove it onto the trailer. Yeah,
and we drove it right back on the trailer. Drove it back in here. There's no leaks under this thing at all. I'm just going to double check now because now you have me second guessing myself, people. Ooh, there is a little bit of a leak. God damn it.
Where is
it? I don't know. It's not bad enough. It's not bad enough for me to care, I don't think. All right, guys, so we are going to start off by honing the cylinders on this thing. And if you guys don't know, these are really glazed over cylinders. I did this one already. We kind of got the ball honed through there a little bit, but these cylinders are not in that good a shape. They're really kind of pitted. This motor should get an overbore, but we ain't got time for any of that. So we're going to send the ball hone through and try to clean it up. We have a ball hone here for an LS motor. We have a ball hone here for a real motor. Just kidding. And it's definitely a lot bigger than the hole here. So what we do is we just, yeah, it fits. She's a little tight in the cylinder, but hey, we need to take off some material here and clean up these cylinder walls. So Christian, we're gonna lube up the cylinders. I'm gonna spin the drill around and give this thing a hone.
You got the options.
Yeah, so
some chain lube.
Yeah, what do we got for lubricant to put on the cylinder hone here?
We got some liquid wrench chain lube.
Chain lube, that sounds like a good one.
Or some of my grandpa's special, some Mopar white lithium grease.
Wow.
Spray.
Nice. I think we're gonna go with the chain lube on this one. We also picked up some rags from Walmart and some assembly lube here. So yeah, we're gonna get to chucking this thing together. There's a mosquito right there. I'm about to smush him. Got him. So yeah, we're gonna turn the fans on so the mosquitoes aren't so bad, and we're gonna get to honing. Get to honing. There we go. There's one down. So we're gonna wipe that out, see how it looks.
Grab one of the new rags here. You want a blue?
Yeah, we'll take a blue. Might need some brake cleaner too at some point. I don't know. Man, it still looks like shit.
Yeah, it does.
I don't understand. There's like pitting all in the cylinder. We'll try another hole. Let's try another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what my dad always said? If you don't fit the first time, jam her in.
Right. Oh, we need a battery. There you go. I got some horsepower. Move to something worse.
Alrighty, guy. Woo. Alright, so it is day 2.
Yeah, we didn't get it done in a day. Oops.
Well, we didn't really do anything yesterday.
We really didn't. We actually, yesterday, we went through and kind of checked everything over. We honed the cylinders, and the cylinders were just like a little sketchy. Like they had some pitting in them, and because this motor had sat in the junkyard for a while, I think, and when the cylinders sit in the junkyard for a while and they get rained on and they get wet and all that kind of stuff, the ring will stick to the certain part of the cylinder and it'll erode away at the cylinder wall. And that's pretty much the case with this thing, and the cylinders were extremely dull and all that. So what we ended up doing is I took the block to the machine shop and I asked my machine guy, I said, hey, would you run this? And he said, oh yeah, it don't even look that bad.
No, it's not even bad.
It's not that bad. So we measured the bores. We have a 4,000 piston to wall clearance.
Yeah.
With these pistons that I've ran in like 10 fucking motors before. And we ran a hone through it a bunch, and a good trick to get a really dull cylinder to come back to life is to hone it with starting fluid. And that's what we did, because these cylinders were so shot. Like they were just so glazed over, so dull, all that. So another thing we did was we took all the rings off of the pistons that came out of the motor, and we checked the ring end gap on all these rings in this block. And the second piston ring, most of them were around 45 thousandths, which is quite big. It's not big enough to where it should be smoking like a chimney, but it is big. You know, that's definitely a little bit large. So we checked those, and then the top ones were around 30 thousandths, 25 to 30. So whatever, we got new rings anyways. Threw the new rings in this motor to check the ring end gap, and the top ones are at like 25 to 28 thousandths, and then the second ones are at like 22. So they're still big, even with the new rings, but hopefully maybe these new rings will have a good edge on them, and they'll have good bite, and we have freshly honed cylinders now, so everything will seal up a lot better, and the motor won't burn oil, at least as bad as it was, because it was so bad before where like I would do a highway pull or something with Christian behind me, and then I'd lift off the gas and like blip the throttle, and it would shoot a fireball because it had so much oil in the exhaust.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So, anywho, we got the block back today. Another thing I did last night is I took the crankshaft up on the workbench, and I did what we did on the Mustang's crank, and that is pretty much just like chamfer the oiling hole. So we took the crankshaft here, and we cut some slits into where the oil comes through the crank, and we cut some slits in with my cutoff, you know, die grinder thingy. It's just got a carbide bit on it, and we took every journal and I frickin' hogged them out on the crank, and then we took the crank to the machine shop. He checked all the clearances. The crank is still good. It's not out of round or anything like that. All the journals are still good. We polished it at the machine shop today. We did so much for this frickin' little CRX motor. So anyways, we're throwing aluminized bearings back in this thing because I had issues with the race bearings, and I feel like I always have issues with race bearings for some reason. I just proved to myself again that that's why I don't run them. But here we are. We're probably gonna run frickin' the racing bearings in the purple car motor. Hopefully that one will be all right. Another thing we did too is we got a bushing coming for the rod that is messed up for the purple car. So I have a set of these Eagle GSR rods, and the top bronze bushing on the one rod was like mushroomed out. So he's getting me a new bushing for that rod. Hopefully that's pretty cheap and we don't have to pay a whole lot of money for all that. And then yeah, we're just waiting on that bushing for that rod so we can throw this bottom end together. I'm probably gonna take the cylinder head up to the machine shop tomorrow or the next day possibly and get that thing thrown together because we have a full Ferrera valve spring and retainer kit with all the keepers and stuff like that. Then I have just a set of stock replacement valves that I got for this cylinder head for the race car motor. And then we already have the crank and everything right here all polished up, ready to go. It just needs a cleaning, obviously. But yeah, this head's like already ready to go. It's resurfaced. We just got to throw some valves and springs and stuff in this one. And then we're just going to be reusing the same head that we've been using on the Hondas that I've been running. I've been running the same damn head. It's wallowed out. Yeah, whatever, it works. So anyways, we are throwing together the bottom end of this thing right now, and we have all the rods and pistons installed. This stuff's pretty self-explanatory. I've went over it 100 times already. Go check out some of those videos if you guys have questions on how to install piston rings and how to install the piston into the bore and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we got the ring compressor here. Compressed the rings, threw the pistons in, and now we're putting the bearings in on the bottom side. So I have all the rods and pistons in, and I'm just putting the bearings on the bottom side of the motor. I'm putting all those bearings in first, and then I'll push the pistons all the way to top dead center on every single hole so I can lay the crank in without hitting any of the rods and pushing the piston out of the hole and then having it hit the floor. Ask me how I know. I've done that before. So yeah, anyways, getting the rest of the bearings installed right now, and then we'll pick up when we throw that crankshaft in. We're going to get some assembly goop and goop this thing all up before we throw the crank in, and then yeah, we'll be dog pile chicken smile. Fucking minto pinto. Well guys, we got the bottom end back together. We got the rods and pistons installed, the crank's installed, the bearings are installed, everything is spinning very smoothly. So now we are going through and copper spraying the old head gasket that came out of this thing because it was never really bad. But we're going to give her a fresh coat of the old copper coat. This is a JE Pro Seal gasket. So they're pretty good gaskets, but we're going to give her a coat of copper coat. Why not? Just to make sure that our warped head or our warped block gets a little sealed up a little better. So yeah, we're just spraying away here, hopefully killing mosquitoes at the same time.
Our little bug zapper is working pretty well.
Dude, yeah, that fucking thing is murdering bugs.
Just murking them. We had to stop for a little bit, go get a B-double-E-double RUN.
Yeah, we had to stop for a B-double-E-double-RUN, if you guys know what that is.
Can you spell?
Can you spell B-double-E-double-RUN?
Bear. All you need is a 10 and a 5-er, a car and a key and a silver driver, B-double-E-double-RUN.
All right, well, the Glock still has some copper coat on it. That's all right. Yeah, it's all right. This thing's all motor. It's not like we're really putting a lot of pressure on the cooling system with turbo or anything like that. So, that's what I say. You know what I say? You know what they all say? We all scream for ice cream or whatever.
Yeah. What do you say?
I don't know. What way does the head gasket go, Christian?
That way.
All right, guys. So the tang on the head gasket here, there's a little notch on it. The little like ear right here. You got to make sure that that matches up with the ear on the block right here. That's what I thought. I thought I've always done that, but I kind of second guessed myself there for a second. But yeah, she'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Okay, so now we have our copper coated head gasket on there. We have good cross hatching for the most part on the cylinder walls. But like I said, this cylinder here got a little bit beat up. So if we do have issues, we can blame that, I'm thinking, because we have brand new rings. All the rings are gapped, you know, accordingly, I guess, to the smallest they came in the box.
Yeah.
But this right here is where I'm talking. It's got this little like ridge shit in the block. And then on this cylinder here, there's like some pitting that we could not get out with the cylinder hone. So we're just gonna send it. The machinist guy told me, he's like, dude, you ain't gonna have no problems. He thinks it'll be all right. So I value his opinion highly, and I'm gonna send it, Poppy. So now we clean the cylinder head out with some brake cleaner and shit. It's just sitting over here. We are going to throw this guy right back onto the engine.
You got her?
I swear to God, Honda cylinder heads are heavier than the block.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Honda heads are heavier than the frickin' block. Whoa! All right. So anyways, guys, we got the motor all together. Yeah, so anyways, threw the cams in the head, torqued the head all down, got the ARP washers and the nuts on the head studs, torqued all that shit down to way too much, and here we are, ready to rip.
She's going.
She's ready to rip. So we got everything installed onto the motor. We got the motor mount on. We forgot to put the motor mount on before the timing cover and the crank pulley here, so Christian drilled a nice little access hole in the timing cover so we can get at the motor mount. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't come like that factory.
Oh, shit.
Like, why aren't you taking the motor mount off every day?
The tensioner did. It
Right.
came with a cap.
Yeah, we just gotta get another cap for this,
Yeah.
and then we'll have a motor mount access hole. So yeah, motor mount's on, alternator's on, crank pulley's on, timing cover's on, motor is timed, alternator is on, I said that already. Valve cover's on, cams are in, torqued, everything is good to go. Vtec solenoid's on. We got the oil line for the Vtec up here onto the head. Intake manifold's on, all the heater hoses, the looper hose right here is on. You know, she's ready to go. So, hell yeah. We're gonna throw this thing together with Walmart oil just like we did the last time and probably fuck it up again.
But straight through to this.
But, so I was telling you guys, I don't wanna run my motors when I break them in on cheap oil or whatever. But Walmart actually sells SAE straight 30 weight, which is pretty thick stuff.
HD 30.
It's like heavy duty HD 30 for gasoline engines, and we're gonna break the motor in on this stuff, hoping that we're not gonna blow it up. I'm also not going to go crazy on this setup for like 50 miles. Like, I literally want to drive it for like just a little while, change the oil out for Chamfers, put a Wix oil filter on it after I run it for like 50 miles or so with the Walmart oil, and then I'm going to then beat on it after a little while. I just want to drive it for like, you know, 50 miles or so, drive it down the highway a little bit, break the rings in, get the rings to seat, all that kind of stuff, and then make sure everything is going to be good there. And yeah, because like I said, the first motor that we put together in this thing, I think we had about, I want to say 2.5 minutes of runtime on it, and I was at 8,300 RPM already. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I don't think it does. Honestly, I feel like if you're going to break a motor in, break it in how you're going to run it. But this time, I think I'm just going to be a little bit cautious, and hopefully it pays off. But anyways,
what's there to break in?
nothing really breaks in. That's the thing. Like, bearings wear in within the first like fucking 10 seconds of running the thing. That's why we coated the whole bottom end in assembly lube. Like, I went heavy on the assembly lube, and you can't overdo it with assembly lube, guys. Just make sure that when you put it in, it's nice and soaked, lubed.
So cut back to the clip where you were just saying that we're not going to beat on it when we start beating on it.
I know, right? We're probably gonna throw this thing together and beat on it right away. But anyways, I do have a lightweight flywheel I'm going to throw on this thing too, just because I don't really care at this point. It's an extra one that I have here, and I'm just gonna throw it in. Lightweight flywheel, XTD stage 5 clutch. Transmission's all good to go. We're gonna throw this thing in the car tomorrow. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video, because the next video we're gonna be putting this engine into my CRX and hopefully getting it running. So yeah, I'm probably gonna try to film a little bit more stuff tomorrow of us actually putting the engine into the car and us actually like wiring it up and firing it. So if you guys want to see us actually show more stuff, like with, you know, okay, that's the intake temp sensor plug, that's the fuel line, that's the throttle cable, all the little stuff that we have to do to get this engine running, let me know down in the comments so I know, because I feel like I just like, when I wrench, I just wrench and I throw shit together, and I know where everything goes like immediately, and I don't film a lot of it, which could probably be beneficial to some of you guys, and I feel like a dick, but it's just how I work. Like, when I work on something, I just dive after it and get after it kind of thing. So
But it's like putting the motor in this thing. We literally just went, or pulling it out, I mean. We literally just went,
let's pull it
oh,
out.
we started taking exhaust off or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, an hour later, the motor is up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, once we get on a roll, it's just best to stay on that roll and to stay wrenching, rather than like, oh, take a 5-minute break to film here, take a 5-minute break to film there. It's just like, you lose motivation when you do that. Like, at least I do. So that's why I haven't filmed a whole lot of stuff, but like I said, I don't know. This thing should be good to go, hopefully. Hopefully she's dog pile, chicken smile. That belt's nice and fucking tight, perfect tension. She's ready to rip. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great night. Better tomorrow. Minto Pinto. Fucking Minto Pinto. See you later. Have a great night. Better tomorrow. Peace.